Well, welcome back. Well, the ODM elections are just 3 days away, and as we have all watched in the news and the campaign trail, they're really hotly contested elections. And we, in our continuing analysis and interviews of those who are running for elections, this morning, we have in the studio Honorable Elizabeth Ongoro, a senator, nominated senator, and a candidate for Secretary General. She's the fourth, or is it the first of the 4 candidates running for that position. So welcome to Citizen Breakfast News. Let's start with, you know, you have become known as the crying candidate. I haven't seen many politicians crying on the platform except the deputy president when they won. You are crying before you win. What motivated your tears?
Many things can motivate tears.
Yeah.
And let me just start by saying that I am an ordinary human being who cries at times and laughs at times, who goes to bed, to sleep, who eats. And so I don't want to sell myself as a superhuman or what the public sometimes think of leaders as being super in certain ways. I'm just an ordinary person who happens to be a politician. And I also don't...
You got very emotional. You said that people were misleading Raila Odinga. Whom did you have in mind?
I will not mention names here, but I still hold that opinion that as somebody that I hold in high esteem, and a party that I love, that I think has got a future for this country, a party that a majority of Kenyans have put their hopes in, and a leader who, to a very big extent, represents the aspirations of many Kenyans. I thought that he still has a chance to lead this country, and because it is going to be almost his last chance if he gives it a serious attempt, it was my opinion that the foundation that we're supposed to lay this time round should be something really firm, something that is not just for the present, but that will sustain not just the party ODM, but the politics of this country to another level and to the next generation. And so when I started feeling that it was not about my candidature. You know, I've been a candidate before many times, and I've gone through very tough political battles. None of them has drawn my tears. But when I see what is much bigger than my candidature, the bigger picture of what actually took me into politics almost crumbling down because of an election which is supposed to be in-house, but which, in my opinion, should have spoken back to the people of this country. You know, the party ODM has been built upon some key pillars. One of them is equal representation and democracy. And when we are given a chance to talk back to the people in action, that what we have been standing for, we are able to sustain it even in-house, and I see indications that that might not be the case, then I saw a situation and a scenario where what many Kenyans have been laying their hope in is under siege. And that is what really was very, very hurting.
Let us be specific. What exactly did you see that makes you believe that the former Prime Minister was being misled or misadvised?
Well, what I saw is that there was a scheme by, I don't know from which quarters, to isolate the Prime Minister. And isolate him to the extent where some of his key generals are either being branded, being accused, or being packaged in small ethnic enclaves and branded to the extent that they are not supposed to play key roles. Even in the political process, that has sustained this political movement so far. And for me, that was not good.
You're talking about ethnic, branding and, people being boxed in. Whom do you have in mind here? I mean, obviously, you've been in the party,
you, Makali, that...
and there were allegations and claims flying around. Maybe you just want to refer to those.
Unless you are specific about the allegations you are making reference to, then
for example, there were people who were saying this is a national party. MPs from Luo Nyanza, from Raila's place, should not vie for the other positions. They should let them go. Were you referring to that?
Let me just respond to that. First of all, when you talk of regional balancing and you talk of equality and equal representation, and you have made specific reference to the Luo, when we are talking of equal representation, are we supposed to remove them from the list of Kenyans, of the 42 tribes, so that we deal with equal representation only with the 41? Are they not an ethnic group that also has a democratic right to equal representation? Are they not a people who also have got a stake in the politics of this country and in this party? When you talk of equal representation, and you start on the platform of excluding an entire region, then that is a contradiction.
Okay.
If we talk of equal representation, somebody should say, in case we have 42 or 47 positions, then every ethnic group in this country should have a representation. But we cannot start by saying an entire central region should not have a stake in the party ODM. So let us deal with all the other tribes or ethnic groups because we believe that that is not a support base. No. If we are truly talking about democracy and equal representation, then we should make reference to the fact that we should have an Ogiek occupying a position whether or not his ethnic group is a minority or a majority. We should have a Turkana, we should have a Luo, and we should have a Kikuyu.
Let's fast forward a bit to the now. That was like 2 weeks ago when you passionately, came out on what you're saying. Has that situation changed? Has that marginalization, attempt to isolate him, receded after your plea? Or is it still ongoing?
The onslaught, and thanks again to the media, you really carried it to very unprecedented levels. And my brothers and sisters who were in the race, then as usual, most of them, we are known to be a people who like giving up. And so many of my sisters and brothers quit the race, as was expected. And I think those who were promoting that propaganda really celebrated. I decided to stick on, and to be honest, I think the Prime Minister has really been misrepresented in this regard. He has called very many meetings where I was in attendance. He has addressed several press conferences in my presence, where he made it very clear that, one, he does not have a preferred list, he does not have a preferred candidate, and that he would want everybody to be in the race. And taking you back to this perception, if you look at what was being perceived as people from that region going for wanting everything, if my memory serves me well, all of them were actually garnering for one position. So whether there were 1,000 of them, 100 of them, or 2 of them, only one of them would have gotten it.
Right.
So that's really, by and large, out of 47 positions that now I believe we are going to create, if all the Luos were all vying for one position, then it didn't matter the number, because only one of them
in this respect, because the party leader is a foregone conclusion. It's going to be Raila Odinga. The next most significant position in the party hierarchy is the Secretary General.
That
so then
again
the argument was that the 2
perception.
positions would be housed in the same area.
And let me just tell you, Mr. Makali, I've gone round the entire country right now. I'm only remaining with one region, which I am visiting tomorrow.
Okay.
And there are regions where I go to, and they're very clear. For example, in Western, they have been very categorical. They say, we were holding the second most senior position, that of deputy party leader, and we are going for nothing less. And nobody's crucifying them for making that statement. I went to the Rift Valley, and they made it very clear. They said, Mheshimiwa, before you address us, tell us that you are supporting that we retain the position that was in Rift Valley, which was chairman. And so, and all the counties, all the 14 counties in the Rift Valley seem to be reading from the same script. Okay. Nobody is crucifying them for wanting to retain that. All right. But then when it's, even before it comes from any quarters, it is then branded, and some people are put to a corner to say that it is absolutely wrong for anybody from any part of this region to want any position. It is really shocking.
You have all alluded to posts that are being created, or the proposed seats, so that you have a number of secretary generals, deputies, 2 deputies, 3. Those seats, some of the candidates are opposed to the creation of those seats because they will not be contested. They will be given after the elections. What is your view about that?
Well, some of those candidates are